Hey, folks, just a friendly reminder that all shows on the Madness Comic Network are produced by their individual hosts and in no way reflect the opinions of the network as a whole. The statements in the following broadcast are not necessarily the opinions of the Madness Comic Network, its staff, sponsors, or contributors. This show is rated TVMA, as are all of them and all those other letters. Viewer discretion is highly advised, and, just do what Doc says. Read that again. Peace, everybody.
Flip City Magazine is just really pulling out all the stops, man. Your guys' production value of this magazine has gone insane. I mean, look at that. I mean, I remember when you guys, it was black and white. Even when it was black and white, I thought your quality was great. But damn, they just really stepping it up a notch. Look at this. James Corbett, boys. James Corbett.
Genuinely cutting. But also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium.
The future. The final frontier. It has never been so uncertain as now. AI, VR, haptic wear, nanotechnology, mass destruction with a remote click. Now we are finally seeing the true potential and dangers of an ever-connected and overly policed hyper-technological world. Have we finally become the architect of our own demise? Is there still hope? Welcome to the future. Welcome to Punk Droid.
The Madness Comic Network and comic-related madness proudly presents Madness Tuesday Morning Brew. Tune in to our content on Comic Talk with Pops Van Zandt on YouTube.
Oh, good morning. It is Tuesday. It's time for some coffee and some talk. I'm not from New York. I'm really excited for today's show. I have a great guest on that I know very little about, and I'm really looking forward to hearing their story, their passion, their project, all of that good stuff. But before we get there, I want to give you all an update on Path of the Pale Rider. I have gotten confirmation that my books will be here on May 15th. So that's one more week, and I will have 200 copies of Path of the Pale Rider trade paperback in my possession. Dun, 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 and then I can start sending you all your copies. I'm so excited just to have one in my hands. It'll be like Christmas morning and my birthday all in one day. So that's exciting. The only other thing I have not gotten is the button packs, but they're in progress. We're doing something. We're adding an Easter egg to the packaging. So if you look hard enough, you might find something extra because that's how I roll. So that's why I haven't gotten them yet, because I got to do my part. So, but it was a really cool idea. Preem is an awesome creator, and I'm really looking forward to getting those. Other than that, we're ready to go. Good morning, Hugo. Can't wait for you to get your stuff. So anyway, Free Comic Book Day was this past weekend for all of you that went out. I hope you all had a good time. I did. I was at Geek Out Mansfield. I was with Marco DeFeo, Sam Vera, and Lauren Wright, and we had a blast. Although the store was very cold, I had to buy a sweatshirt because I was freezing. But had a great time, met lots of new people, sold a bunch of hot sauce and books. So what's not to love, right? Free Comic Book Day. I grabbed a couple comics for my kiddos. There was one about Unico. Like, are they bringing that back? That's crazy. So that's what I did this weekend, and rearranged my garage, which was boring. Hooray. But I'm here today ready to nerd out. Let's do it. So I'm going to bring in our guest, Raphael. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Blessed, thank God. I like the way you put out that Pale Rider. Is that what he's called? Is that what he's called?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm the writer-creator of Path of the Pale Rider.
I gotta check that out.
Thank you.
I am Ralph Madrigal. I am 50 years old, happily married for 27 and a half years. I work with the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office in South Texas. We are a border county. I've worked everywhere from the jail to patrol to investigations, narcotics, SWAT, and I've been a supervisor for the last 15 and a half years. So it's been an exciting time. It can be stressful. I am also now a first-time creator of Atreydean Justice, which is a comic book based on faith, family, and justice.
I love it.
That's been like my passion since I was 12 years old. I finally got the courage. Yeah, I finally got the courage last year. We went through some problems in our family that challenged my faith a little bit. And I told my wife, I got to put this out. So the plan was to do when I retired, pull out some money, pull out this comic book. But when things happen in life, we have to do them now, because we won't be here. We could not be here tomorrow, So I had already been messaging and talking to some of the guys in the indie world, a lot of awesome people, man. I finally discovered it about 15 years ago, and they introduced me to Aaron and to Joseph DeSantos, and it's been an awesome roller coaster ride.
Yeah, roller coaster ride it is, right?
Yeah.
So let's go all the way back to the beginning. I want to hear, what is your origin story? Like, how did you even get into comics as a kid? You said 12, so right. I'm assuming that was it. Like, you were reading comics at 12, but tell us more. Like, what were you reading? Kind of what was your journey?
So, we're from Edinburgh, Texas, which is, here in Hidalgo County, small town. When I was 12 years old, I bought my first comic at this store called Maverick Market. It was a Superman comic.
Cool.
And I remember reading that comic book, man, day in, day out for weeks, and telling my mom, it touched me. It really I don't know, it inspired me just at that 12 years old to try and be a better person.
Yeah.
And it was on fire from then on. I started collecting, but spending every cent I could on comic books. I didn't even know about Comic Cons back then. I think there was like a few like in California, or New York. We're in Texas, we're South Texas, we're behind everybody down here. So I kept buying these comics, and I slowly started to draw these characters, in these notebooks and these things that I kept, these journals. And Atreydean was actually called Power Wolf way, 38 years ago,
Yeah.
He's transcended because I'm a werewolf junkie. I love werewolves.
Yes. There's so much werewolf stuff out now too.
It is awesome. I wish there were more. So I called him Power Wolf, and he's progressed. And over the years in high school, I started putting together like a version of the Legion of Superheroes meets the Shire Imperial Guard, kind of a mixture like that, trying to get this universe done. And it was a ride, and I become I swore an oath to become a deputy sheriff when I was 25 years old. I always wanted to be a cop since I was a kid. About the same time, we had a problem one day, and this deputy shows up to our home, and man, I was really impressed the way he handled the situation. And so that kind of led me to the path of working with the sheriff's office, right? So, and you know what the great thing about that is I got to actually work with that guy once I became a deputy.
Really? That's awesome.
I was,
you get to meet your kind of like your mentor, your
right.
your inspiration.
He influenced me to really become, a deputy sheriff. And so I got hired. I've been, involved in some of the, when we take that oath, when you swear that oath to God, we take out a lot of responsibility, right? They teach us how to, what we're going to see, we're going to deal with, right? But they don't teach us the aftermath of what you see, all these things you carry in your heart and your soul. And this comic book that I've been working on for the last, 30 and a half years, especially the last 15 years, has really been like my savior. It really has been. I had a lot of sleepless nights where some of the things you see out there, and this story and this origin really helped me focus and fall asleep and kept me from going crazy.
I believe it. I mean, my comic book focuses a lot on how ugly people can be to each other, and I'm sure you see it every day.
Right.
So and it's like, how do you deal with that? So this is a great out for you. You know what I mean? And just dump it into the comic.
Right. So this story, it's transcended also, the last 15, 16 years. I finally created the actual hero last year, like Atreydean. He's had different names. He's had the Power Wolf. He's had a Warfighter. He's had Justice Prime. And finally, 2 years ago, I was seeing Dune, and I love the House of Atreides.
Yes. Okay. That makes perfect sense now.
Right. And I thought back to when I was a kid watching the Never-Ending Story and Atreides.
Yes.
So I finally researched the word, and it means fearless in Greek. So
fearless?
So fearless justice. So that's why I tinkered with the name for months, and I finally came up with Atreydean Justice. Basically, fearless justice. Right.
That's poetic.
That is, it's heartfelt, and it's coming from me. I am a strong believer in morality and integrity. We're not perfect by any means. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, but it's how you pick yourself up afterwards that really identifies who you are.
Right.
And Atreydean is basically everything I want to be if I could be a superhero. Some of us. Joe DeSantis told me it's autobiographical. So it's like, it's based on something like
that. Okay. Yes. Okay.
That's that word. I can't even say that.
Autobiographical. I get you.
Yeah. So, and it's going to involve his family. It's going to involve a lot of people that he knows in the comic book. It's family oriented. It's a little violent. It's chaotic, but it's powerful. It's a powerful story.
Yeah, that's incredible. So tell us more about the story. Like, we have a superhero, but let me just be quiet and let you elevator pitch us. I can stumble over my words all morning. Go ahead.
Okay, so Rick Miranda is a deputy sheriff in Hollow County Sheriff's Office, who is, he's got the problems we all go through, financial problems, marital problems,
Right.
That we all face. But he holds himself to a higher standard, and he is bestowed this power from the oldest form of justice in this universe that the earth didn't even know about. So he's bestowed this power. And he's told, hey man, you have this power now. The ultimate evil is coming for it because it wants the souls on this planet. So the ultimate evil is called Father Evil, which is the father of all evil, basically the devil in this universe. So he decides to share the power. Like I told you, it's based like on Imperial Guard, the Shire Empire. He can share this power with those who are deemed worthy, and he chooses his family because he thought the best way to protect them was to power them up, from the ultimate evil. And already on Earth, unbeknownst to him, there are these things called astral wolves that are like scouts that Father Evil sends throughout the universe to find pure souls. So they're already here by the time he's bestowed this power, because the alpha superhero Dox intervenes when he hears that Father Evil is coming to Earth. And that's how Rick Miranda meets up with this character. So he's bestowed this power. Now he's got to deal with the consequences of sharing it with his family. Did he make the right decision?
I was going to say, I don't know about that, because sharing your power might protect them, but it also makes them a target.
Right. So he already made the decision. So he's got to live with it. And will he can he persevere through what he's going through? It's going to be, this story should be 5 issues. We're up to issue 2. It's called The Fall, Atreydean Justice and the Sword of Justice Knights, The Fall. Gotcha. So it's going to be exciting. It's an exciting story.
When did you publish issue number 1?
Last year, I believe in November.
Okay, so the end of last. Oh, that's quick. You're turning around and doing the next one.
Yeah, I didn't want to wait too long.
Right, it's hard. It's like there's this fine timeline where it's like you have to take time to do it right. But you can't take too long because then people forget about you.
Right. It's and like everybody else, man, I have a full-time job. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta, and I've been scripting a lot. Aaron Down is a blessing. He's helped me a lot. Joseph DeSantos, they're extremely well at what they do. They're probably some of the best I've ever dealt with. And they teach me a lot, man. They're there. And Joe can be tough, man. Joe's tough, man, but he tells you the truth. And I love that about the guy. He'll let you hear what I should hear, as an artist.
Right.
And Aaron the same way as a scripter and editor, well, maybe we should go this route because of this. And I had a hard time in the beginning, you have your story, but they made it stronger. Those guys know what they're doing.
Right. And that's where you kind of have to, it's hard because it's your baby, but if you're getting overwhelming constructive criticism to say like, hey, your story's great, but what about this?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's almost like we have to drop our ego and say, let's consider that, because it's all about how to make the story the best version of itself.
Exactly.
And how do you do that? Yeah, with your team. So that's really interesting. So on your book, you're listed as creator and Aaron is credited as writer, but how does that relationship work? Because this is basically your story and you have ideas of where it goes. So how does that work together with you and Aaron?
And the same, so I created the story. I had the score, I have some of it scripted already. All the way to issue 5. Aaron in turn, said, hey man, look, let's go this route. It'll make it stronger. So that's why he's a scripter. He's throwing some of his ideas into the story, which made it stronger. Issue 1 was mainly me, with his little changes. Issue 2 is half and half. He did an awesome job. Hopefully issue 3, 4, and 5 will be both of us making it stronger. Joseph throws in his ideas. We have an awesome letter named Van Calridge, who's new to the team. Cool dude too. But I know, and it's a challenge, to try to write. Your ego sometimes gets to you, and
Right.
you're gonna turn it off a little bit. But no, we work well together. We can take constructive criticism together. It makes us stronger. I feel like those guys are becoming my friends. The last half year, almost a year that I've been working with them. Real
That's
strong
great.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's always good to have a team where everybody is laser focused on what needs to happen.
Right.
And I think those guys are a great team, and they can definitely help any creator do that. So, by the way, Jessica was here and she said hi. Hi, Jessica.
Oh yeah, Jessica. Aaron's no, he's a lucky man. I know.
I had Jess on the show too. She was
Yeah,
talking about what a comic book producer, like behind the scenes, what she does. Because I was like, I've never talked to a producer. Like, what exactly do you do? Like, and she's like, I manage everybody. I'm like, thank you. I would like to hire you.
Yeah. She does an awesome job. They have an awesome team. Their Fall of the Night comic book is awesome. She produced that. And Aaron and Joseph were involved in all that, and they did an awesome job. I'm learning so much from them. So it's making me as stronger as a scripter. I'll never be able to draw. God's sake, man. Everything I've created has been through sketches. This is how I want it to look like. And Joseph will take it to the next level. The first guy I ever reached out to was Tony Cottrell from Advent Comics. I don't know if you know Tony Cottrell. He is actually he's retired. He's a firefighter.
Okay.
So we kind of had that connection real quick. Yeah. Maybe like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because he's actually the first independent comic that I ever bought. I didn't even know about indie comics. I'm sorry, man. We're from South Texas. It was all Marvel and DC, and it became so commercial for me. Like, God, man.
I don't think anybody really knows too much about indie comics unless someone brings you into that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't know either. I wasn't part of the community when I first started on my path too. I was just like, well, I'm going to do comics, and I didn't know anybody, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, I stumbled onto him by accident. I don't remember how I got it. I saw his comic book online somewhere, and I love the cover. It was a guy named Titan, and Titan's a firefighter in that comic book, so it got me intrigued. Okay, and then I discovered that he's a firefighter, so it's the same thing, kind of based on him. And his a lot of his comic books are not Christian, but they're moral based,
Yeah.
And I loved it, so it hooked me, and I started discovering Argo 5, started discovering Starcross Comics, and I probably have about 200 independent comics from different people.
Oh, that's awesome! And you're beating me. I don't have quite 200 yet.
I have a bunch, man. Jeez, my wife she'd go crazy, man. You're spending so much money on those comics. Yeah, man, but they're awesome. These are guys that have 8 to 5 jobs and lives, and they're doing it. They're doing it.
I back a lot of Kickstarters, especially indie comics, and I had 3 of them end at the same time. My husband was like, "Can we talk about your Kickstarter spending?" I was like, "Oh no, what?" I was like, "Oh, they just all hit at the same time." I backed them at different times. It just, yeah. Whoops.
And I love it. I love it. So I reached out to Tony last year, and when I was going through those problems, and we finally created Atreydean, the actual superhero. I give him all my ideas, what I wanted him to look like, and he shot it out on another level. Right. So I met another guy named Nick Garber from Apogee Comics who winds up being a Border Patrol vessel commander as well.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I met these guys, and because they're law enforcement guys, firefighters that create their own comic books. So I've been contacting those guys, and I finally told my wife, man, I need to do this. Help me do this. I went, I got a credit card, I spent on my own money and all this,
Yep.
And I found a guy named Rodney Lockett, who's like, I asked him how much he would charge to create my comic book. And he's like, look, reach out to this guy named Joseph DeSantos, man. He is awesome. He draws awesome, and he's reasonable. So, man, it's been a ride. Met Joseph. He loved the whole concept of a Atreydean and me being a deputy sheriff, and introduced me to Aaron. And it's been an awesome ride after that. Just learning a lot. I keep writing, scripting on my own over here, getting ready for issue 3, 4, and 5. So it's been a blessing. Those guys are awesome guys.
So I have a question. So when you're writing or creating or however you want to put it, there's usually like two schools of thought. There's people that are called pantsers and there's people that are called plotters. Are you familiar with those terms?
No.
Okay. Plotters I'm a plotter. I sit down and I want to know like where my characters are starting and where they end up and how they get there. Like I plot out every little step of the way. So that way, you know, when I'm writing, it's going somewhere. There's other people that do that same, do the same overall thing, but they're called pantsers. They just sit down and they write by the seat of their pants. Okay, where's my character going today? And they let the character kind of decide. So I want to know, like, do you feel like you fit into one or the other?
I'm like half and half.
Are you?
Honestly, yeah. So remember, I've been writing this since I was 12, off and on, like every single day. But more, the last like 20 years, especially at work, you know, you have some downtime, you know, and I'd script. I'd be at dinner with my family, and an idea would come to my head, and I'd script it somewhere in a notepad, you know, on my phone somewhere, right? Any idea, you know. And that's what I've been doing, you know, trying to page all these papers together and all these ideas. I don't know how many journals I have lying around the house where I'll be watching TV and, oh man, look at that concept. That you know, wow, it's an awesome concept. And boom, I write it down. That's how Atreydean came out to be. I wanted him to be Superman meets Black Adam meets a guy named Mr. Majestros. You know, I want him to be able to have moral value, but at the same time, you're in law enforcement and you have to be able to kill somebody. You know, I swore that oath I took says, hey man, someday I may have to take the life of a third party or a bad guy, you know, that's in the defense of a third party or myself, you know. So I wanted the superhero to be like that, you know, real Atreydean. And so, you know, he'll try not to kill humans, but he will kill the bad guy if he has to. You know, he has no problem doing that because he is
that gives him a much more realistic feel,
right?
You know, it's really down to earth, and it's like the decisions that he has to make is much more heartfelt and easier to empathize with the character, relate to the character, because it's real world. It's not like, you know, Superman, who is so high and mighty, is like, I'm never going to kill anybody.
And him and Captain America, and I love their morality, you know. But in the real world, someday you're gonna have to. I hope I never have to in my career. I've come close plenty of times, but the Lord blessed it not to have. I've been shot at, you know. So it's you know, I wanted to basic the Atreydean in as much real life as we can.
This is something that I was talking about with Corissa as well. It's like, what would happen tomorrow to my story if I just dropped dead? Like, tomorrow is promised to no one, right? You can get hit by a car. You could just not wake up, whatever. And I haven't scripted my story all the way to the end where I know it goes. So I have that as well, where I'm like, I feel like I just have to get it on paper. So at least if I were to pass, maybe someone could carry on, but at least someone would know where it goes.
Right.
So do you have that feeling too? Like,
yeah. So I really want to have this story written out. So I'm going to get with I'm going to deal with I want to actually get with Aaron so we can fully script the entire 3 issues. You know, I have pretty much all 3 issues done, but like you're saying, the plots are there, parts of it, but it's missing some certain things to it, certain vibes to it that I know Aaron will come in and just blow me away, blow readers away. Man, he's got a great mentality.
Yeah. He's just so creative. You can see all the things and where it goes, and that's so cool. I'm going to bring up one thing that we did not mention is that there is currently a campaign, and I've had this up and open, and this thing has been spinning this entire time.
That's a treat. That's Aaron's idea right there. When he knocked it out the park, man, I love that. It got that like 70s vibe to it, man. I love it.
Yeah. Well, it gets your attention. I've been staring at it for the last 31 minutes. But let's start I just want to show everybody. I dropped the link very first, but I'm going to drop it again. So if you want to go look around with us and go, check out all the cool stuff, you can follow along with the class, everybody.
Yes.
There you go. Here's the link, everybody. So I love the short links. They make me happy.
They're
So
so cool,
Atreydean Justice, number 1 and number 2, which is always important. You can still get the catch-up tier and get number 1. And this one's called The Fall. 32 pages. That's a quite hefty book.
Right. Yes.
Faith, family, and justice. But when faith is tested, sometimes we fall. Heartfelt and powerfully written. This looks amazing. And of course, you're already overfunded, which is great. We got 16 days left to go to get you more readers, maybe break some stretch goals, and help you guys, hopefully break some records. I'm not sure how much were you at in your last campaign?
I got to Jesus Christ. We got funded within almost 48 hours.
Wow.
Yes, and it got to like a little over $4,400 and 168 backers.
See, so now people, we have goals to beat.
Right. That's what I want. We're our next stretch goal is at 3,500, which is going to be a really cool sticker of the fall. It's an awesome drawing that Joseph did. It's great. Then after that, at 4,000, we have a button with our new logo in black and white, which, man, it's gonna look killer on the shirt. It's just a white logo, the same exact logo, but white over black. It's gonna be awesome. And then I think the last one's a UV cover, and we're also gonna have a variant cover that Joseph's gonna blow out the world, man. It's a montage to one of my favorite covers. I'm not gonna say what it is, but that cover is one of my like top 2 favorite characters on the planet.
Cool.
And it blows me away. So it's gonna be awesome.
No spoilers. No spoilers on my show.
I don't want to give too much away. It's gonna be an awesome variant cover, man.
So exciting. Yeah, you'll have to make sure you update everybody when that drops. That'll be really
for
cool.
sure.
Let's watch the video, peeps. Let's do it. Make this
Absolute chaos has erupted here in downtown Hollow County. Multiple fights have broken out with what appear to be superheroes. These bystanders said that they were here when the fight started. What do you have to say?
It's like something right out of a comic book, except it's a lot more intense here in real life. In a moment, I became this. Everyone in my life became who they are in a flash as well. We have all these powers, yet no one taught us how to use them. What about my family? How do I know that I made the right decision?
That was awesome.
Perfect. And just the right amount of time too. It's like, I love to make long videos, but nobody watches them. Damn it.
Right. Yeah. Aaron nailed it. Nailed it. And it's exactly that. It's the fall. Your faith is challenged.
It's Aaron.
Right. Yeah.
I was like,
and Joseph's right next to Aaron.
This is Joseph and Aaron.
And that reporter is actually Bella Michaels. She interviewed us last year, issue 1 Kickstarter. She interviewed me as being a sheriff deputy that created his own comic book. So we asked her if she wanted to come on issue 2 in this in this cool page, and she agreed to it. And that's Bella Michaels right there, an actual real reporter.
Hilarious. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, we have to go back and talk about this.
That's both my boys right there, Joseph and Aaron. They're both cool guys. So actually, Bella interviewed me 2 weeks ago at my first South Texas Comic Con here in Texas. She went out there and did an interview.
Talk to you about that too. So cool.
Yeah, man, she is awesome. Channel 5, KRGV TV down here in the Valley. They really helped me. They really gave me the opportunity to spread the word on how important this comic is to somebody like me that really saved them in a lot of ways. She gave me the opportunity to put it out there and let the world see it.
I'm sorry. This is in the devil's air, for Pete's sakes. Sometimes I have to wonder. Here you go, sir.
Chicken nuggets. Consequences.
Are you happy? We have this weird chicken nuggets and consequences thing in my fandom. So people will randomly come in and drop chicken nuggets or consequences in the chat.
I like that. That is so cool.
Sorry.
No problem.
Let's go back. All right. So, ooh, look at this fancy story. Who designed this?
Aaron
Did.
Yeah.
Such a nice design. It's the story here in Atreydean Justice #2, The Fall, the second pulse pounding issue based on faith, family, and justice. Deputy Rick Miranda, I cannot talk today. A man whose faith is challenged is bestowed an amazing power from an ancient order. He now must face the uncertainty of sharing his power with his family and protect them from the impending evil he must face. Will he have the courage to persevere? This comic book is years of seeing death and chaos and a way to break free. There's our only way of telling the world that no matter what we are going through in life, there's always hope. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and that you are not alone. Oh, yeah. That's beautiful.
Yes. That's not straight out of my heart right there. Aaron put it on there, but those are my words directly. We all go through things, and so we need something to anchor us, besides our family and God. For me, this was what kept me from really, really, losing my mind sometimes.
I feel you. And this helps other people not lose their mind too, because they get that escape.
That's what we need. Yeah, exactly.
And that's 100% why I do what I do as well. It's like, read our comics, people, just for a little bit. Escape from your world, your stress, your, morning traffic, your fighting in your family, your kid, whatever, antics. Right. It's escape for a little bit. You know what I mean? And then sometimes it's worse in the comic book than it is in your real life, but it's exciting and you forget about your own woes.
we know it's a story,
right?
But there was some truth to it. In issue 1, there's some things in there that are strictly out of my life. Changed a little bit, but it's in there. And a montage to some of the stuff I went through, last year, and I wanted to make sure it was in there. And Aaron, nailed it. And Joseph nailed the art to the highest level. This is the issue 2 page, cover is the fall, and I thought he blew it away.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I can already tell just from the cover. Let's see. Hi, Carrie. I love the positive message about mental health. Yeah, Kevin Davis, creator of Arcfire, also puts a message of encouragement over mental health issues with his work too. I think more and more creators are doing this because it's so easy to be negative, especially with social media. That's right. My own personal opinion, but I think it's so easy to be negative on social media these days that we need people to have that positive message, that reinforcement, that, disconnect from the negativity. It may draw eyes, it may be that dumpster fire that you want to watch, but ultimately it's not doing anything to help anybody, I
want this story to touch somebody out there,
yeah.
I go back to this a lot because it's really saved my life, man. I remember coming back like in 2016 from a horrific night, and I'm laying in bed and my wife's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Babe, I can't get the idea of the utter disrespect for life,
Yes.
You see all this death, right? And that's why I started noticing, something's not right, But then again, here I go. I went straight to Atreydean and just concentrated on what I wanted to do with this character. And I just got up, started writing, and then I forgot about that problem, You kind of tend to put it back in the back of your head. And every once in a while it keeps coming back around, creeping up. And this story, this whole origin, this whole universe has been my escape, like you're saying, an escape from the realities that we see every day. We have our family, of course, that help us, faith in God and ourselves, but we need something extra, to help us push us through.
Yeah, I feel like along that line of that topic, it's like your family can help you only to a certain point. You have to do the work as well.
Right. Absolutely.
And there has to be some way that you cope. And this, for a lot of us, I mean, I have a lot of my personal trauma is written into my story.
Right. Right.
My readers where I'm like, hey, if I'm traumatized, you have to be too. Sorry.
They can share our pain a little bit, you know.
Disney Web Company, but it's therapeutic for us as a writer, and it might be therapeutic for you as a reader to read it and go through it as well, and then be able to put it down. You know what I mean? You don't have to carry it with you.
Right.
I'll talk to you about this in just a minute. I already mentioned in the beginning of the show that the books are shipping, but I'll talk about this in a minute. But I want to focus on what we're doing. So this is 4 interior pages broken down.
Yeah, that's the first. These first 4 are from issue 1. Those are issue 1.
Okay, so that's a look at where we've been.
Right, and then the next ones are the issue 2. Right there, the battle scene. That's the very beginning. The first 4 pages, you know, it's straight out action. You know, and issue 2 will explain a lot from issue 1. So issue 1, I wanted to be different, Laurie. I wanted it to be it's got a lot of information and a big punch in the face, you know. But it was for a reason. I told her I'm going to do it this way for a reason, and then break it down issues 2, 3, 4, and 5. So issue 2 will explain some of the things from issue 1.
And I'm noticing an interesting palette choice. So in this one, I'm seeing very much primary colors: blues, reds, yellows. There is some green, but not a lot. Right. And I don't know if this is just a sample of the pages that you guys chose, or if this is an overall theme within the book. But look at this one. Now we have greens.
Yeah. So Grid Blaze that's Grid Blaze right there. She's one of the superheroes that's related to Rick in the comic book. So they're exploring their powers there. So he chooses, of course, his wife. You know, he chooses his son, his daughter-in-law, and eventually his grandson. You know, and then so the Sword of Justice is the actual power behind Atreydean. It's the oldest form of justice in this world. It's called the Sword of Justice. It's 400 billion years old, and Earth didn't know about it, right? So in all these 400 years, the Sword of Justice has had 4 major knights, and in those knights, they can create other like soldiers a la Green Lantern, a la Nova Corps.
Yeah.
And so when you lose your life, and the Sword of Justice kind of keeps a little bit of your essence and your power, and you can share it later. So that's where it's going to explain more about how that happens. And so Rick chooses that. Rick chooses to share his power with his family. Like you're right. You told me earlier. At the same time, now they're a target. You know.
Yes.
But at least a target they can protect themselves, right?
I was going to say they're probably a target either way, just for being related to him. But at least they could protect themselves. But even if they were on their own with the power, now they're more of a target, probably from higher ups. I don't know. That's just my thoughts about it.
You're spot on, you know, and so that's where now he's like,
yeah,
maybe I shouldn't have, you know. That's where the faith gets challenged in this issue. But that is you know, Limestone in human form. Limestone, there's 4. So it's Atreydean, it's Iron Angel, the wife. It is Limestone, the son. Rip Blaze is the daughter-in-law, and Union Star is the grandson. His power probably is the coolest. It took me forever to write that, years and years and years. But I can tell you, he has ability. An 8-year-old boy has ability to switch places with a future version of himself.
What?
Yes. So Atreydean grants him this power, but it's got some pros and cons. That's going to build later on. That's going to build in issue 3, 4, 5.
Oh, time travel.
It's going to involve a lot of things. Remember, this is the Sword of Justice is a Jesus Christ. It's the essence of justice. You know, it's powerful. It can time travel. It can it's celestial. You know, it's a celestial power that is the greatest power of good, and Father Evil is the greatest power of evil. You know, and in this universe, Earth is so far behind that our minds are not strong enough to understand the power. So it kind of deciphered to us so we can understand it.
Yeah.
You know, so the father evil is actually, it breaks it down as the father of all evil. So we just call him Father Evil. You know, one of the bad guys is Cancer. She is disease and infection. So it breaks it down for us. Oh, no, her name's Cancer. Right.
Yeah.
So,
is that this lady in red?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be
I was
exciting.
like, she's definitely a bad guy, but what's her story?
You know, and when I kind of sketched her, Joseph took her to the next level, man. If you go on my Facebook pages, you can see all the characters throughout last year as they're building up, and Joseph just took them to the next level. I don't know if you can see Father Evil. I don't think I have anything of Father Evil in there, but he is crazy looking, man.
Which one is he?
Oh, he's not there yet.
I was gonna say, I was like, is he in these pages?
Oh yeah, no. He's in issue 1 and in issue 2, but of course we didn't put those pages on there.
Secret. Okay.
Yeah. he looks
okay.
vicious.
Keep your secrets. Carrie, this is a truth bomb you just dropped. As some people lack empathy, so the more positive messages, the better. Papa Roach wrote a song about being a light in the darkness. I commented to that had attempted 4 suicides. And I got a reply saying, try again. See what I mean? Like, people are so callous and just
crazy, you know,
detached. Like, who in their right mind would say that? Nobody.
Somebody that is probably lost, you know. Wow, man, that's crazy.
That's
you know?
crazy. Yeah. Like, you can be it takes 2 seconds to write a comment on the internet.
Right.
Why put something so negative like that?
Yeah, those people need to just keep their comments to themselves, you know. And we do need to be a light in our darkness, you know. Believe it or not, a smile can go a long way, man. You look at somebody down the road that looks like they're not having a great day. Smile. I hope you have a good, you know. It can make a difference, you know. Believe it or not.
Yes, 100%. Oh, look, here's the team.
Yeah,
Aaron does good work. I love all these graphics.
He's
So
great.
there's your smiley self. There's Aaron.
I'm always
and
happy.
Joe. And Van Claridge. Did I pronounce that correct?
That's our new letter.
Why does he look so angry?
That's just Van being Van.
I'm like, okay.
He's a bear. That's our new logo. We got a new logo. We changed the logo. I feel like it needed a change.
Yeah.
So the issue 2 logo, that'll be the new logo from now on.
Is this mug available as?
Oh yeah, that's part of
merch?
the campaign. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks great.
Mugs. I need to.
There'll be like several different versions of the shirt as well.
That's cool.
And,
I like the symbol and built into the word. That's really cool.
I think
the title. That's nice.
You know, that symbol took me forever to create, man. It took me years and years. It's like a sword that face down, right? Kind of like a cross, and the scales of justice and the fire of baptism. One of the powers that Atreydean has, all the major knights, is if you get possessed by these astral wolf, you're gone. You know, you can't control anything. Its job is to take over your body, and then Father will come and take your soul, right? So and it makes you do crazy things, right? Chaotic things. You'll see it in the comic book. And if he's able to split the wolf from you, he can baptize you of the sin you committed as a wolf, because it's not you doing them.
Right.
But you still have to pay for your crimes to humanity, you know? So he can do that to help you feel better, but you still got to pay for your crimes, you know?
Justice.
Yeah. You still got to pay that prime.
Yep. All right, let's look at some of the cool rewards you have. So issue 2 digital copy, $5. That's amazing. That's right along line with everybody. Get a copy of issue 2 as soon as it's available. No waiting for print. Now, I have said this multiple times, but I live in both worlds. I love being able to binge read, PDFs where I'm like, okay, give me everything you have, and I can just read it on my phone, in the car while I'm waiting to pick up my kids, or at night with the lights off. Like, I don't have to bother anybody. And then that's usually the first time I read through, and I read quick because I just want to know what's going to happen, right?
Right.
Then I wait for the physical copy, and that's when I go slow. You know what I mean? I turn the pages.
Absorb it. Yeah.
Yeah, you look at the art. How are the panels? Like, what makes it work? Look for the Easter eggs, all of that stuff. That's when you go back and catch all the extra things that these creators are putting into the story that you missed the first time.
Right.
So that's my opinion. Do both.
and there's a few Easter eggs on issue one particular one that's going to set it up hopefully for a crossover later on. But yeah, I love a floppy. I'm a floppy guy. And there's nothing better than 80s, 90s comics. I'm sorry, man, but that old paper, and you smell it. Oh my God! The new stuff, it's more vinyl.
I have said that too. That's why I'm like, you have to like feel it, experience, smell the book. And people always laugh at me, but you get it. You have to smell the book.
Especially the 80s, man. Oh my God.
Yeah, well, they use different ink then.
I got like 10,000 or the paper as well,
Yeah,
I got about 10,000 comic books, and I love to just go up there and open it. You don't get that from the new comics, though. I'm sorry.
You don't, but I still smell the books because I'm.
Yeah, that's good. That'll work. And I love a hard floppy. Digital are great. I think digital are more accepted now. Everybody's got tablets and everybody's got these huge phones, so they're great. You're right. Go out there, read it real quick while you're at work, while you're taking a break, and then get that hard copy and just bam. That's the goal right there.
Devil's Air, what's up with you, man? You're here for the chaos, is what you said earlier. Remember Newton's third law: to every male action, there's a female overreaction. Fired. You are fired, sir. Don't come on my show and start poking the bear, metaphorically. I mean, of all the people to poke, me, not the one. You know better. Anyway.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, you should know this. I mean, they say it lots of times. All right. So issue 1 digital as well, in case you missed out. Do you have a pack? You do. Okay. Issues 1 and 2 digital. This is great because then you just you get both in your inbox and it's super cool.
Yeah.
Physical number 2, $15. Cool. Just a physical copy of Atreydean Justice, plus a digital copy for all your devices. Perfect. Yes. So this one is the happy place that I like. I want both because I can read it as soon as it drops, and then when the physical comes, I can spend the time and absorb it as it's meant to be, consume it as it's meant to be. You know what I mean?
I love that plan. That was our plan from the very beginning.
Yeah. Issue 1 physical, and then of course, you get $5 off. That's great. Issue 1 and 2 physical, get a little discount if you get the ketchup tier.
Right.
That's ketchup with a C, not with a K. You only get the ketchup tier with the K on my campaign. Sorry. Coffee lovers. Oh, you're on the right show for this.
That was number 1 last year. I sold a lot of coffee cups.
Dude, there's 10 people in here. That's amazing.
Yeah, they love them. Last year sold about 30. We're a little behind on this one.
I might need one. Get a beautiful mug with a new Atreydean Justice and Sword of Justice Knights logo on it. Plus physical and digital copies of issue number 2. Beautiful. Metal trading cards.
Yeah, those are going to be awesome. Those are I thought that was a great idea. I've always liked them.
How many cards do you get?
I can't give away too much. The whole set, probably. Yeah, it's gonna be the whole set.
What? You get the whole set? See, I've seen people do you get 1 or 2, every campaign, and then you can build your card set. But all of them, dang.
We'll see. There's a surprise.
And
there's that shirt right there. There's that shirt right there.
Beautiful.
That black and white one is my favorite. Oh man, I want that one so bad.
Well, you should get it 1 of each. That's what I do.
That's gonna happen, of course.
That's what I do. I'm like, these are our 2 t-shirts. I get 1 of each.
Last year we had a hoodie, and that one sold about 7, so it was pretty good. But I said, not this year. I have different shirts.
I love a good hoodie. I'm always like, all right, what do I need to fill out in? Because I usually do a black shirt and a white shirt. Right. Now I did this yellow shirt for the first time. I was like, I need more colors now. We're just going to branch out into color. Sorry.
Yeah, a little different.
I was like, I need Path of the Pale Rider shirts, 1 for every day. So I can just wear, my own shirts every day.
You got it.
That's why I was like, get 1 of each, man. These are cool. So you get to pick which one you want from this tier?
Yeah. Yes. Once we shoot out the surveys, you can pick the one you want.
Cool.
That's awesome right there, man.
Ooh.
Those are great. So my local TMPA supported the full page, so it's an advertising tier. Mark, one of my cousins, Mark, and the water store, so they can buy the page, the half page, and have their store, their product in the comic.
Yeah.
And there's nothing greater than having a police department. Another friend of mine who is the chief of the FAR PSJ school district police, they got a page and a half page. I think it's awesome when a local police department can support a sheriff, what I'm saying, that's creating his own comic book. So our TMPA got a full page. Our TMPA is our union, so they helped me out a lot. And those make a big difference in the funding.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, they do. But I mean, like, excuse me, they have like 114 people that are now going to see their ad.
Yes,
so
that's cool.
Yeah.
I gotta get the number up, man. I gotta push this out.
Where are your stretch goals?
Oh, I don't think we put them on there yet.
What?
Yeah, I think we're working on that next. Yeah, so
well, can you tell me some of your plans? Can you tell me?
So 3,500.
Well, we talked about 3,500 and 4,000. Yeah. Right. Okay. Did you break any yet?
We're close to the 3,500 one. That'll
okay.
Be
that's the first one.
The fall stickers. They're great. I need to tell Joe to put up. We need to put that fall picture on there. It looks awesome. And then the next one will be the button of the black and white shirt.
Cool.
And then the last thing will be the EV cover, the glossy cover.
The classic cover. Cool.
Those glossy covers.
Oh, the glossy. Yeah.
EV covers, much I think they're called. But that's coming up soon. So yeah, we need to put that in on the campaign itself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we have a lot of add-ons.
I only laugh because we all do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Were you a part of building the Kickstarter page? I'm just kidding.
I know Joseph and Aaron, man. They're
my
tech guys, and of course I threw in ideas like, hey, we need to make sure we have add-ons because people are asking me, hey man, I want this, I want to add this. So I think we just did it to all of them.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you create an add-on, and should add it on to just about everything that's a physical tier. Right. But I'll tell you, man, creating a Kickstarter page is work. It's a lot of taking pictures and setting price ranges. And
Aaron and Joseph are beasts. They're great at that, man.
They've done so many, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hold on. Because whoops, I'm pushing the wrong thing. I push all the buttons. I do that. I have to show you the video because I love this video. For anybody that's always running any kind of campaign, I like it because this is what we feel like. This is it.
Hold on. I think I'm bleeding. Am I bleeding? Ow! Ow! Nose and lips! Okay, ow.
I love that. I love that. That movie is one of the best of all time. It's hilarious.
That's totally that's what it's like to run a campaign.
Like that. Yeah.
You just, mm-hmm.
It can be pressure, Laurie. I was never into Facebook. I was never into X, TikTok, and so the original plan, to be honest with you, was I just wanted to create a comic book. I want to create my own comic book, right?
You got lots of other things that you got to do.
And then Joseph, you know what? Have you heard of Kickstarter? And that's where it started from. Those guys help me, push me into making this into where now we can, it's out there, because the original plan was just to pay for it and say I created my own comic, but the story's great. And if it can just help one person say, hey man, anybody can do this, if you have a dream, and a passion, man, the sky's the limit,
Mm-hmm.
I wish more people would create their own comics,
Yes. And no.
The indie world is so cool. I met so many cool people the last year that man, there's so many all over the United States, all over Great Britain, all these other
Yeah.
countries that are putting out their stories, and if something hooks you, if you see, I'm about covers, I'm about cover and art, unfortunately it can be a pro and a con because I've seen some amazing stories. I just don't like the art, and it's crazy like that, and I don't buy a book, but I just don't know why, it has to be a combination of awesome art and a great story, right?
It has to be. And we hear this all the time. There's always the debate. Which one needs to be stronger, the story or the art? And it has to be a happy marriage because the art is what will pull people in the beginning. But if there isn't that story, they won't keep coming back.
Right. Joseph told me that at the very beginning. When I was working with Joseph in the very beginning, he told me that. He goes, man, your story's awesome. Your story is great, man. It's original. It's coming from somebody in law enforcement, and the art's got to be there. And his art's just, it's amazing. Joseph DeSantos is his art is, I don't even know how to name it. It's just nostalgic. I don't know. He is so cool with his art, but you're right. The story has to mean something. Nobody wants to read a boring story. It has to catch you. You have to have a hook. There has to be a little bit of a hook in there. And I believe Atreydean is that, faith, family, and justice. I got asked by Vince White what Atreydean's icon is. Batman is fear, Superman is hope, right? And Atreydean is justice. That's his icon. His icon is full out helping those he can, however he can, whatever he can, So I like to say Atreydean is the badge of justice. Justice to heart.
Run out of batteries? I'm just curious because it's like when you're so selfless and all you do is help other people, I feel like he would be drained.
So he carries the weight of the world on his shoulders.
Yeah,
he really does. And you'll see it. You're going to see in the next issues where the fall can hurt, when your faith is challenged. I can't give away too much, but when your faith is challenged,
no spoilers.
Yeah, you fall sometimes. We all fall, right? We all go through ups and downs in our lives, and that's why it's so important. And people read this comic because it's based on that, Issue 3 is the rise, but you got to fall first. We all got to fall first a little bit to get up and dust yourself off and keep going.
Well, I feel like that's kind of the journey of, I don't know how I want to say this. I related to martial arts because having done martial arts for over 25 years, it was like in the beginning, the rise is like when you start getting good, right? And you're almost addicted to that new learning experience where it's like, this is awesome. I have quote unquote power behind me, right? Cool. And then it's like you realize you plateau. It's like, I'm not going to get any better unless I put in a lot of work. You know what I mean? And then it's like you have to mature through it. You can fall, you could, and then it's like if it's a journey that you're on for any long period of time, this could be for artists as well. It's like you start drawing, you get a lot of attention, but it's like you're trying to up your game. That's the fall where it's like I really have to work at this if I'm going to get better.
Right.
So I can definitely see how it can relate to a lot of different aspects of people's life. It's like wow, I didn't know you went to karate. What style? I practice Indonesian and Filipino martial arts. Right now it's Kalis Illustrisimo, which is sticks and blades.
God, nice.
This is what I mean where I was like, don't poke the bear, dude.
Yeah, I'm a common deputy, so we're to the Kamagra. We're more about tactics.
Yes, gun disarms and Krav Maga does the best gun disarms out of any martial art that I've done.
It's coming here close to me and try to take my gun, I'm gonna break your arm, But you're right. You're right.
How they train, because they'll shout at you and make it feel as realistic as possible. It's fear inoculation is what they're so good at. Because you can do the technique when no one's screaming in your face, but as soon as you panic,
you get that pressure. Oh yeah, man. Yeah. That live feeling is that's how we train. So I was part of the SWAT team also for 6 years, and the way you train, the way you play is the way you train. That was our saying. So even when you practice, you got to go 100%.
You have to. But I mean, there's a process to that, people. You don't start out 100% because then you just panic, right? But you learn the technique. You go up to the level where you're uncomfortable. You see if you can do the technique, and if you can't, then you come back down. You practice some more, and then you amp back up and make it more serious. Because the more realistic your training is, that's what's going to happen in real life. How you play, how you train. So
I think that's our mentality. I think it should be a mentality in everything that we do, in all fields of work, whether you're a custodian or you're a teacher. You know what I'm saying?
Musician. Yeah, I mean, it could go any which way. That's it.
And I play rock too. I play the bass guitar and
do you?
That is a rock. I'm a rocker too, so I love.
Oh my god! There's so many people in this community. There's John Westhoff and Tim Fling that are also super musical, and they write comics about music, and they play. I dabble in the bass guitar. I am a cellist. I play the cello.
Oh, wow.
I have an electric cello, which is a lot of fun.
Cool.
But I can find my way around a bass.
I've always, pretty much since I was 16 years old, I picked up my first bass.
Did you?
So, yeah, man. I heard the Motley Crue's Looks That Kill back in the day, and that song just hooked me, and I started discovering Iron Maiden, and boom, that's it. Rock and roll forever.
I've been ignoring the chat. Sorry, guys. Hello, Andrew. Nice for you to join us. Lovely to see you. Let's see. Old school Marvel ink is the best comic smell. Oh,
yeah, he's right on. He's right on.
Devil's Air again, pushing my buttons. He's so funny. He shows up and he creates chaos, but it's all meant in good intentions. Nice Transformers. Oh, have you seen the 1986 movie of it too?
Autobots rule. I'm wearing an Autobot shirt.
Don't poke the bear. This bear right here. See it? This bear. Don't poke it. Me. That sounds like a challenge. You probably shouldn't.
I wouldn't.
I mean, I'm sitting here. I got about 3 weapons within my grasp at my desk. That's what happens.
Oh, wow.
You have to have them where you are. There's no point in me having all my weapons in my closet.
Hey, what was that style that Steven Seagal used? He uses anything around him as a weapon.
That's just good fighting. Right. Whatever's around you becomes
whatever's
a weapon.
Around you.
Yeah. But I will hide my weapons all over the house.
Nice. Well, I got a couple of pistols stuck somewhere places.
Exactly. Because what if you're upstairs when someone intrudes? You got to go all the way downstairs to your safe?
No way.
Sorry. I'm that weirdo. I don't go to how do I say this? When we go to the picnic, like the neighborhood picnic, I don't tell people what I do for a living most of the time. I just don't. Unless they ask me, and then I tell them, but I usually just ask about other people because I'm that weirdo that they're like, you do what? Yeah, I stab, things, and I write comic books about the apocalypse. Oh, and I bake cookies.
Great. So you got to be a combination of everything.
Yeah. You got to walk that fine balance where it's like creative and destructive, right?
So when some of my friends at work are like, man, we didn't even know you like comic books and you're writing a comic. And my closer friends are like, we knew someday you'd create your own, we knew it was coming. Because, when you're partnered up with somebody for a long time, we get to know each other, right?
Right.
One of my buddies is like, I knew you were going to do it, man. I knew it. I'm proud of you, dude. He's like, am I going to be in the comic? I'm like, no, I can't put everybody in the damn comic, man.
You're like, actually, I have a drawing tier. It's $100. Feel free to
purchase it.
You should do that. You could totally do that. Just limit it. Trust me.
Right.
Because then all your friends are like, "Oh, be drawn to the comic." It would be great for your dollars, but then Joe will just freak out on you. He'd be like, "I have to draw 12 people into this comic."
Joe loves it, man. Joe loves to draw, man. Joe loves all those commissions. There's actually more people in issue 2 that are coming in that are related to me, or I can't give away too much, but yeah, that are close.
That's
I
funny.
kept that real family oriented as far as the characters.
Yeah, that makes sense. Pops, you'll have to tell us this story at some point. I don't think I've heard this one. What the heck? First off, what were all your weapons doing on your boat?
Right.
That's what I want to
question.
know.
That's my question too.
Right? You're supposed to have some backup. Normal is boring. That's why we're here. Yeah, and you know what? Raphael, I have found this, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but again, when I first came into comics, I didn't really know anybody, and you don't realize how niche it is. So like when I talk to my neighbors and they're like, okay, weirdo, you know? But there's a ton of people that do what we do. And it's like, if it wasn't for social media, I probably would not have found my people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
absolutely. So Joseph last year, and when I decided to do the Kickstarter, he's like, man, well, you gotta get the socials, bro. You got so Facebook, my wife had it, but more of a family thing. Now I got Facebook, I got TikTok, I got Insta, I got the X. I have a little YouTube deal that I just put out my videos, you know what I'm saying? The videos that I've done. But you got to, man, you have to, like, otherwise you're gonna have like just your immediate family. That's it, you know.
Yeah, and not even them.
Yeah, so you gotta harass them.
I mean, I've been really lucky. My family does come out and support, but I know the people that don't. You know what I mean? It's just like, no thanks. But and then again, I feel like they have to give blood every time I run a campaign. It's like, gosh, Laurie, we give you birthday presents, we give you Christmas presents, and now I gotta,
buy a comic
every 6 months. I gotta support you that way too. And it's just like, you don't. And I'm always like, if you don't want to, or you're not financially able to, then don't. Like I never pressure my family that they have to back me. But I've just been very blessed that my family does.
Right.
But I don't know if you found this. My first campaign did really well. My second campaign actually did a little less.
Well, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, you're right. But you're not at the end yet. So we'll have to check back and see. You could break that goal and be fine. But for me, I've heard this. Yeah, it's a thing. Like your second campaign usually does a little less than your first one, but then the third one picks up and then you start to grow. But I think it's because it's all those people that really want that first issue and they're so proud of you and good for you and congratulations on launching your comic book. And then issue 2 comes and they're like, wait, I have to give blood again. And they're out. They don't come back.
Spot on. You're spot on. And I'm very lucky because a lot of people at work have supported me a lot. We are an 800, man department, and they help me a lot. I've been involved in a lot of departments, and when there's a SWAT team, meet a lot of other agencies. So other friends that I've met are supporting me, and it's amazing. But I'm sure it's taxing after issue 2 and now issue 3 coming in about. Actually, I have another one shot coming up, hopefully in October or November. That takes place between issue 1 and 2. So
you beat me to that. That's one of my questions. You beat me to it. Like, what's next? And have you thought about doing other things besides the 5 issues? And
yeah, you read my mind. Yeah, that's gonna happen with Vince White. It's scripted, and the ink pages are already done. So it just needs coloring and lettering. But it's a strong, more based comic on the deputy and the problems he faces, you know what I'm saying, as a deputy. So it's in between issue 1 and 2. And hopefully issue 3 of Atreydean will come out maybe sometime next year, maybe March, April next year.
Yeah. And it's like, we always have these plans. I had already planned to have launched issue 5 by now, but it's like, things never work the way I want them to. But you have to do them right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to rush into issue 5 without fulfilling my other stuff. And I have a couple things playing catch up. So it's like, nope, we have to focus on doing that first. So it's like, you plan to do that in the spring. And then, I mean, hopefully, I hope so. That's one of the biggest challenges, I think, of indie. When I go to a comic book store and they look at my history, they want to see how often I'm releasing comics. And if it's more than a year, they might not pick me up.
Right. No, it's you also need money. We all need money to create those comic books.
That's the hard part.
That is, because that can be challenging for all of us. I've been very lucky though. We're doing well. I'm gonna keep pushing it, man.
Not nice, not nice. And it's not everything that goes wrong. It's usually printing takes longer than what I was told. And that's the situation too. Like everything was done. The printer had set a certain time frame and it's longer than what they said. And that's unfortunately like every single print job I've ever done.
Wow.
So I don't know if I need to like anticipate that. How long do you anticipate that for? Where it's like if they said 1 month, do you make it 2? And that way you just fulfill earlier if you get them earlier. But I don't know. I feel like printing is always the slowest.
Joseph gives us a long time. I think we end in mid-May, I think, but and it's not going to be out till August. We have till August.
Yeah.
So he always gives us a little leeway. But man, I've been very blessed. Our printer did really well. Within 2 weeks, I got my comics last time. Even less, I think, less time than that.
Gray Wolf, sometimes, every time for me, every single time.
Wow.
I've never had a printer deliver their stuff on time. And it's just, I mean, I can get upset about it or I can just accept that that's how they all go. I have 3 different print orders out right now. I have metal covers that I'm waiting on. I have my trade paperbacks that are coming. And then I have, I had to order my Choose Your Own Adventure books and the color issues of #1 from a different printer. So I have 3 different print jobs that have not been delivered yet that are I think they all should have been in by now. But again, it's just like, it is what it is. And it's all across the board. So I can either get upset and get angry, or I can just be like, look, it's coming. It's just
be patient. It'll get
there. It's hard to be patient, isn't it?
Man, that was the greatest feeling in the world. When I got that first box, I recorded it. I did I shot it on Facebook. I wanted to cry, but I kind of held it in a little bit. I had my grandson with me. We're opening, you get that first, that first issue. Like, oh my God, that was the greatest feeling in the world. That's like, it's my comic. This is my comic. Who can say that? I even have a figure.
You know what I mean? It's like you took it from a concept. You took the steps to make it happen. You did everything from start to finish. You saw it all the way through and you hold one in your hands. It's like, wow, you really can do anything if you put your mind to it.
That's the moral of what I want to put out to the world is that, man, anything you do, we all have dreams, everybody has a dream, whether it's comics or music or whatever, build a car, I don't know, whatever, but we just got to work, nothing's free.
Yeah.
It took me 50 years to do this.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the great part about indie comics, in my opinion, is you can find it at any stage of your life and you can get started. You know what I mean? There is no, like actors and actresses specifically, after you're over 30, I think it's 30, then you don't get cast as the young hot thing anymore. You now get cast as the mom.
The mom roles.
That's how it goes. So it's like you have a certain amount of time to get found. Otherwise, you're automatically your mom and you get bit parts. I don't know. So indie comics, it's like you can find us anytime and start on your path. And I love when I get people that are brand spanking new. You're not brand spanking new. You've been around the block at least once. But people that are brand spanking new, and I'm like, oh, I am so excited for you to be on this journey. And then I get to relive it with you, where I get to watch you open your first box of comics and feel that joy. I'm here for you, Hugo had asked, has Buy My Comic replaced the buy some tickets to the sheriff's office ball?
I wish.
Still a thing, the sheriff office ball?
I don't know what that is.
Sorry, Hugo, no such thing. Oh, let's see. Gray Wolf. I'll be glad when I get to the point where I can start my campaign, trying to get my book done first. I think I'm having RJ at Critical Blast handle it. The fulfillment for you. Smart move. He makes things easy for you.
Cool.
And of course, Devil's there. I'm writing a book, but I need to take care of my mom. Yes, and her lung attacks. I hope she's doing better. I think last time was it last week you had mentioned that she was ill and that she was at the doctor. So hopefully she's doing better. Right, Wednesday and beyond. Yeah, get more words in, man. I know I mentioned Corissa a lot, but I talk to her like every day. She has a set routine where she writes. She sits down and writes every single day. Same thing like Tom Hutchinson writes every single day. And I'm like, God, I aspire to do that. even if it's just nothing, you know what I mean? But you get used to that routine.
Man, she has so much merchandise on her holy moly. It was me, it was JD, Jay Rosario, Ray, and another guy from a podcast, I forget his name. I'm sorry, I apologize. But man, her campaign is long, you know what I'm saying? It's awesome though. How does she afford all that? That's what I asked her, Kurissa. How do you afford all that kind of stuff? You know what I'm saying? All kinds of plushies for everything. And God, I was amazed.
She does her own way. That's all I can say. She does it her own way. I don't do it that way. I can't.
I can't afford it either.
Oh my gosh. She's the what? Gilbin of merch? What's a Gilbin?
Goblin, more like the goblin of merch.
She is definitely the merch queen. That's what we call
her.
Yeah,
that's what I call her, the merch queen.
And we always laugh about her campaign because she'll launch and then it takes 20 minutes for people to go through her campaign. And then after 20 minutes, her numbers will go. Usually she'll get people like me, like, I already know what I want because I'm privy to her information. You know what I mean? Like I script supervise, so I already know which cover. I've already picked it out, right? So I'm just like, I'm usually like, boop, that's the one I want. But in 20 minutes, like that's when her numbers will like skyrocket because people have finally figured out what they want.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
Cracks me up.
And she puts them out real quick. She puts out these Kickstarters basically back to back almost, right?
Every other month. And then because I script supervise for her. So she's writing, I think she's on 17. And then she's Kickstartering 10 right now. Right, and I just proofread issue 14. So pencils, inks, color, text is all done for 14. Wow. And they're just like, they're going through their editing process.
My God.
So she's a machine.
Yeah, I'm very impressed by her method, behind everything. It's amazing. I'm trying to learn and absorb from everybody I can.
Yeah, but it's like things, everybody's method is a little different, and you still have to figure out what works for you and for your audience.
Right.
Because Corissa's, they're dialed in. They already know what they want, but they Kickstarter every other month. And she's amazing because she'll close a campaign and launch the pre-launch for the next one, and everybody just goes and signs up. Yeah. So she has them trained to just, go from one to the next. For me, I have pre-launch set up for issue 5. I have 22 people signed up, and it's been pre-launched for 2 months. People don't sign up for pre-launch for me. They just don't. But they always come out to the campaign because I think they're dialed into my social media. So again, it just what works for one doesn't work for the other. So.
And when I did it last year, a lot of my supporters down here in the Valley don't know what a Kickstarter was. They didn't know what it was. That's what I'm saying. Did you get the
phone call?
What is this, Ralph? What's going on with this, man?
How do I?
Right, man. Hundreds of calls, and text like, hey, man, is they gonna take my money? And like, relax, man. Kickstarters, it's one of the safest ones out there, but they didn't know. I guess, like I'm telling you, in South Texas, we were behind in the times. Where if you're not into, indie comics, you're not gonna know what a Kickstarter is. Honestly, now they know. I've educated everybody I could, but they were surprised with that. They didn't know what a Kickstarter was.
Yeah, and I still get the phone calls.
Right.
They're like, hey, I'm gonna go back. Can you walk me through how to do it? Sure.
Right. Well, done that hundreds of times. Like,
what are you interested? Which level are you in? Well, I want this, but can I add a this? Yeah, let me show you how. You know what I mean? Or my favorite is when they have to change stuff.
How the hell do I do this?
Well, they're like, I tried to add a t-shirt, but it canceled all the rest of my stuff. So your campaign just like takes a nosedive. You're like, oh my God. Like, let me help you fix that.
Last year I was real lucky. Out of the 168, actually, it was actually 170, but I had 2 that dropped at the very end.
2. That's great.
Ah, man, very blessed. I am so blessed. And we got funded in under 48 hours. This one in about 2 days and a half, we got funded. So it was a little slower, but we still did it. 2 days. I'm so thankful for everybody that pledged, and I made a lot of fans all around the United States, man. It's awesome. Yes. Guys from like North Carolina, Kentucky, somebody from Oregon, all these different kind of that, and that's what I want. Somebody up there in Oregon is interested in the Atreydean. That is, wow, man, that is the greatest feeling on the planet. You know, I know your family
all over the world will be interested.
That is so cool, man. And that's something I was talking to my wife about that. Like, babe, it's like, wow, man, this guy in Oregon, a guy in New York. I was like, that saw the comic and the cover and said, you know what? And he bought it, you know, and he paid for it, you know, even though it's only $15, but still, you know, people have hard times, you know.
Yeah.
And that's a great feeling. That's the greatest feeling in the world.
Absolutely. It sure is, you know, that someone takes a chance on your story. And I think, you know, it speaks wonders when they read one and they come back for two.
That's the best feeling too, as well.
Got them hooked. Hugo, she prints her stuff in advance, or she has copies already ready. So, for example, whatever one she's Kickstartering, she already has them printed. So when the Kickstarter closes and the credit cards run, and if you're approved, she just starts shipping right away. She doesn't wait for the funds to show up in 2 weeks, like I do.
I think we all do.
Some of us, I mean, like for myself, I use the method of I have money in my account and we're going to go as far into the issue as we can until we run out of money. And then we have to Kickstarter again. So a lot of times we're using the money from that Kickstarter to produce that issue. So that's why, yeah, like my same thing with you guys. Like it's a little bit longer of a turnaround time because that's how we chose to run the, you know, our finances.
Right.
Whatever. But everybody does it differently and that's okay. I got the impression these hill jacks here where I live have no idea what a comic book is. Great Wolf, where are you? Are you out? Are you in Pennsylvania? Or I forget where you are. You'll have to tell us what state you're in. But there are places like that. I just did a con. Speaking of cons, I want to talk to you about your con experience.
Yes.
I went to a con in Oklahoma for the first time. It was Texoma. And the closest comic book store to that community was actually in Texas down the street from me.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like, yeah. So they don't, it's same thing. Like they don't know you're in Tennessee. Okay. So sometimes there is no comic book community there. There is no LCS. Isn't that crazy? So yeah. So how do you break into that community? How do you, you know what I mean? Like I would love to pick people's brains. Like how do you get those people to come to your Kickstarters or to purchase off of your web? Like how do you get to them?
And it's hard, right? So, you know, we're in South Texas, you know, we're at the border and down here, I don't know if you heard of Myth Adventures. As Helgi is, he's probably the biggest comic book company or comic store in South Texas. Also Kaboom Comics, which is Ramsey Ramirez. He's the one who runs the South Texas Comic Con and a few other stores. You know, Hobbies and Heroes and Unlimited Comics, all in this little area where I live in. But man, the indie world, I don't know, it's different. You know, I don't know if some comic stores are scared of independent comic, you know.
Well, they are because, like I said, if you release 2 issues and then you go under, they're like, people are coming like, hey, I'd like to buy a Atreydean, and they're like, we haven't got any. You know,
right. You know, and I got lucky. Kaboom Comics, Ramsey Ramirez, actually sells my comic there. I'm privileged that he gave me the opportunity to put it out there. He also runs South Texas Comic Con, which was huge. It's been 8 years. He's running for 8 years. So remember that we never had a con before that. You know, we're so far behind as far as cons, but this year was a blast, man. It was my first one ever as participating as a vendor. You know, an Artist Alley. I didn't even heard of Artist Alley before. No? I would go to cons and go meet the actors, you know? Never saw that perspective of it, you know? And it went well.
What was your experience like? Did you get a ton of people? Like, how do you get them to your table? All of that.
So the JD, I think I did a show with them right before the con, and we launched the 23rd of April, and the con was the 26th, right? So I wanted to do that for a purpose for the con. Cool. And he tells me, JD or somebody, or Joseph tells me, hey man, bother everybody. You know, wear comfortable shoes and harass all the cops, harass everybody. So I did that. I stood and for my first con, the first day we were only there about 6 hours on Friday. Saturday I was there about 6 hours, and we took Sunday off. We're family oriented, we're so I was only there Friday and Saturday, and we did amazing. I sold 30 comics, so I met 35. Wow. I thought it went really well. I got to meet a lot of people, and once they found out I was a deputy sheriff, that was a hook. That was a hook. That was, oh wow, and this is coming from the mind of a sergeant for the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office, and it went really well. I dragged my poor wife there, but she was a soldier. She helped me through the whole thing. It was great. It was an awesome. I can say my first experience was a blessing. It was great.
That's awesome. I know when we were first talking, I was like, "Oh, you're in Texas." I was like, "Maybe we could run into a con, run into each other at a con." And then you were like, "I'm in South Texas." I'm like, "How far south?" I'm like, "Oh, no.
The border."
We're really far apart. We're like on the opposite ends of Texas, people.
Right.
So we were talking like it's more than an 8-hour drive between us, and we're still in the same state. That's crazy. Right. That's how big Texas is. But I'm glad that you had a great experience. Sometimes it depends on the con, but I love that your first experience was a good one, because you're going to go to cons and it's going to be dead. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm waiting for, man.
It'll happen.
Have you had any tough ones?
So usually one day is better than the other, and depending on location. Like I've been at the end of the line of the artists, and the first day was great, but the second day not so much. But that's usually when I take advantage of it being slow, and I'll go talk to the other creators.
Cool.
Because again, I'm a writer, I'm not an artist, so I'm always looking for who's an artist who could maybe do a variant cover, whose style fits with mine. You know what I mean? Like I'm always looking to meet people and make connections within the indie community. So if I'm not selling books, I'm networking. That's how I handle that. And it's just good to laugh and meet people and take business cards. And, you never know. You might find the next person that wants to do a variant cover for your comic.
Right. Yeah. And so I'm planning to do one in San Antonio. I think June 5th. It's a creator con.
Cool.
I'm going to do that. And some anime ones that are going to happen here locally where I'm from. So I'm just trying to put myself out there as much as I can. Have everybody meet Atreydean and his story.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's crazy, man. These cons are crazy. I've been to many as a buyer, as a supporter, but to be on the other side, it's different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I met some really cool people, some of the cool artists. Apogee Comics, another guy that's there, Nick Garber. He's a BP Border Patrol Vessel Commander. He was there with his buddy. Well, actually, his buddy was there. So that's cool. The guy's from Harlingen, Texas as well, man. So it's been super awesome. Super awesome.
And I saw Sam Vera on Saturday, and he was listing off all the cons that he's doing. And I was like, I would really like to just go to all the same ones as you. I'm like, I'm just going to go look at his appearances and make a list. But it was one of those things to me, it's more difficult to make your table feedback when you just have one issue.
Right.
So that's why I was like, I'm so happy for you that you had a great experience, because again, it's hard to make your table feedback when you're selling just a single book. But when you start having two, when it's you can bundle them, you can have merch at your disposal. And for me, a lot of times I went outside the box where I was like, hey, I make hot sauce that's related to my comic book. So you can, and I bring cookies. So it's you're here for comics, but your friend over there is just coming along for support. They might want some chocolate chip cookies. I have the best recipe you'll ever have. You know what I mean?
That's a great hook. You sell hot sauce too then. Wow.
I do. I make my own hot sauce. Isn't it crazy?
Wow.
It has the bear on it and everything. And I just debuted two new flavors. So everybody in the fandom is waiting, because I can't ship them outside of Texas.
Wow.
Let's say this. I cannot sell them as a purchase and ship it outside. But Kickstarter is its own animal, and it's a pledge.
Right.
So it's not a sale, it's a pledge. So technically they could pledge a hot sauce sampler on the next campaign. So that's where they're all like, can you launch, please? I'd really like to try.
How spicy are they? Are they
Well, if I can eat them, I don't consider them super spicy. I am going to do like an insanity sauce where it's like all you spice heads can have one and blow out your backside, have fun. I like to taste my food, so mine are mostly about spice and flavor. So I have a barbecue ghost pepper, which is I consider medium to hot. Other people, like look. Yeah, they want the super hot. But this one, it tastes good and it has like a delayed heat, but it's really good on like I usually put that one on like fried chicken and pulled pork and like anything barbecue, right? We're in Texas, we love our barbecue.
Yeah.
I just did a mango habanero. That one's medium to hot, depending on it just depends on the peppers I get sometimes. And then I have a mild sauce that's a jalapeno serrano. The peppers just aren't hot yet for those because it hasn't been sun. You know, the peppers need the sun.
You gotta have spice and taste though. You gotta have a little kick, but the taste. You
gotta have the flavor.
You don't want it to burn your mouth. You can't even enjoy it. Nobody wants that. You know?
He does.
He's crazy, man. You want to enjoy it with a kick. You gotta have just a kick, not a kick in the groin. You know, just a kick in the. You know, it's savory. Oh God, I love spice.
I was like, you either don't like to taste your food. I don't like it when it burns when it comes out too. Like, no, thank you.
Somebody give me a push pop.
But Pops loves a good hot sauce, like hot. Oh, it's a fellow creator is the one that started all this because he does the hot sauce, and he asked if he could use my my zombie bear on one of the labels, and I was like, yes, but you have to send me 2 bottles for myself. So I got them, and of course I posted on social media, and then everybody's like, how do we get this? And I was like, well, guess I'm making hot sauce. But
that's
so
awesome,
I mean,
man.
like, it's weird, but that's how it happens, right? Your fans are like, hey, we really like your mugs. Can you make more? And then you're in the mug making business. Path of the Pale Sauce, how no, stop with the chaos. That's not how that goes. Maybe wrong, but you may find it funny what I just watched. People can now identify as death, the pixel or seasons of the year. They can female spring into fall and then into winter, let everything grow. Huh?
Yeah, that's a lot.
And identify as a man. Well, yeah.
Oh man,
that's going on too.
That's everywhere.
I'm a wuss with hot food. I'm not. I like spicy food, but again, it has to have that flavor. I just don't like I don't know. Do you ever see that show? I forget what it's called, where it's the wings. What's it called?
And they gotta eat the real bad spicy where they're exploding.
Yeah.
Oh,
someone help me in the chat. I don't know. I forget what the show is called. It's on YouTube, and they interview like celebrities. But it's just one wing with the hot sauce, and it's like the last dab, and and it's like super hot stuff.
It just burns, you know that you can't even taste it, just burning. You try to stick your face in
like
milk.
Your lips are on fire, and it's like
that's ridiculous.
Can I wear gloves when I eat that? The hot ones. Thank you, Hugo. I was like, someone knows in the chat, the hot ones. That show will show you the stuff. You know what I mean? Like it'll show you what that person is made of when they agree to go on that show and eat all the things. If they're swearing, if they're just eating it like they don't care, like you'll see if they could survive the apocalypse.
Yeah, that's too much. I just like the kick. I just like a good kick.
Yeah. Show first we feast.
I'm already getting hungry.
I know. I was like, oh man. I was like, so what else kind of merchandise are you planning to go into? I know we talked mugs and t-shirts, but is there anything else that you're thinking? And the metal trading cards, which are super hot right now.
I love buttons. I think buttons are so cool. Buttons are you can make so many different kinds. They're awesome. Buttons and pogs. Remember pogs?
Oh my gosh, you're gonna do pogs?
Van our letterer is like, hey man, what about pogs? We gotta bring those back.
Oh, that's so cool.
I want to do that. I'm trying to put it out there. I just gotta find somebody who sells them or creates them.
Oh, yeah. It's like, how do you make them?
Right.
You know what though? I've used Sticker Mule.
Right. That's where I get my buttons and stickers from.
They
so
do
cool.
acrylic, just about everything. That's where I have on this side. I got buttons from them as well for Path. And I think you can get something with no backing on it, and that would be, if you just did
Like
a circle, it could be a pog.
It's a good idea.
I wonder.
And we also got some bookmarks. The bookmarks are pretty cool. Old school, you know, it's kind of old school right there. I gave a lot of those out, you know, to kids out there at the con, which was pretty cool.
Do you have one?
Yeah, I do. I don't know. Let me see if I can put it on there. So
cool.
So it's upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
they're two-sided.
Yeah, Joe did a great job with it, man. So we're real lucky, and he have you ever heard of Chibis?
Yeah, the Chibis. Yeah,
so we did some of those, man, and he created some really cool ones of all the characters, the good guys.
Yeah,
and we give them to the kids. We give them up to all the kids out there. They're so cool, man. I had never seen or heard what they were. I've seen them, but I didn't know what they were. And he did a great job. Joseph blew them away with those. They're so cute. The kids love them.
I think you can do like standees too, where that's acrylic, and then they have like a little stand you put them in.
Wow, that's an idea.
I'm gonna throw that out there.
I like it.
I think you could pull them off, especially all your superhero crew. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
Give you some ideas because I want them.
Cool. They're so cool, yeah. But yeah, Banner Buzz is a great place. Sticker Mule is awesome too.
Yeah, I'm finding I like them a lot. I might they have branded tape.
And they're cheap. I like that.
Yeah, they're pretty inexpensive. And of course, it's like the more quantity you buy, the less, per item cost. So I might look at some of their branded packaging, like plastic bags and like their tape. They have branded tape, so you could put your sword on your tape. So when you tape up your Gemini boxes,
awesome. That is awesome. Wow.
I usually stamp my boxes. I have this big rubber stamp that I put as like this skull with like flowers on it. It's very Day of the Dead. It's beautiful. Cool. So that's how people know it's my package that's coming, because it has my big old stamp on it. So.
Wow. Where'd you get that? Where did you get that? Locally or?
At Michael's.
Oh, wow.
See, I go there during Halloween and I just buy all their skull stuff. I'm that weirdo that's like, the day after Halloween, I get all the fake blood. That's me. It's on sale. I'll go buy it.
Oh, that's a great idea. I like that, man. Now I want to get my pogs. I want to get all those stickers too, man. Tease. Yeah. Joseph, I want to actually get the chibi stickers for each one. I think that'd be so cute.
Yeah, that is super cute.
That would be cool.
Could do those as keychains too.
Right. I saw that Corissa had. Oh my gosh, she had.
Oh yeah. Corissa has done everything. She is chibi Anubises.
Yes, I love those.
I had to get she has these little keychains. They're 3D little Anubis keychains. And I think he's a chibi. He's super cute. I got two because I have two kids and they put them on their backpacks. So
that is awesome. I gotta do that for my grandson. That way, so I send the chibis into school and the kids love them. The kids love them that his grandpa created this hero base, and he's on it too. So they loved it. They loved it. They loved the idea.
I know. We gotta figure that out. That's the only thing. Do you do international shipping, Raphael?
No, I don't. I haven't had that opportunity yet.
I didn't either.
How does that work? Is that expensive?
International shipping is insane. And then depending on where you're shipping to, you have to have something like a VATS tax number. And it's like, it's just all these extra steps. I would love to ship merch international, but I'm just not, I don't think I'm there yet. I could talk with ASAP. I think they would host merch for me as well. I just haven't turned on that option yet, but this last campaign I did, ASAP Imagination is publishing my trade paperback, and that was they ship internationally. Wow. So that's how people like Carrie and Devil's Air were able to order physical copies, because otherwise they're just limited to the digital, right?
Right. Wow,
so
man. What's
that was
ASAP?
the first time.
ASAP's a printing company?
ASAP is a publisher. They
Oh,
do
okay,
like indie publishing. Hmm.
wow.
And I had like just digital download with them. And then when I was shopping around my trade paperback, and it just, they're really awesome. They're starting to get books, so trades, into bookstores. So you can actually buy Path of the Pale Rider trade paperback in 4 bookstores in London, like London in the UK, which is crazy. And then he's based in the UK, so that's of course why it's over there. But he's going to work on the United States too, so like Barnes and Noble and like Walmart. So yeah, they do great things for indie creators.
That is
Absolutely.
so cool. That is so cool.
But this isn't about me today. This is about you.
That's okay. I'm learning. Hey,
I was like, I could tell you all about that later, but
I am absorbing. Yeah, well, you know, the Kickstarter is we got 16 days left.
Yay, there's a backer! Hurrah!
We got somebody new. Yay!
Thank you. Yeah.
I love it, man. Trying to get as many supporters as I can, so many backers. I love the story. 3, 4, and 5 are going to be an absolute roller coaster ride of pain and destruction. So that's going to be exciting.
I think you and I are along the same vein. The more chaotic, the better.
Oh yeah, you gotta have chaos, and you gotta rise from it. Then we gotta rise from it, you know.
Yeah.
But issue 2 is the fall. It's the first. You know, it's gonna give you action, and it's gonna punch you in the stomach, and you're gonna be gasping for breath because you're gonna want to know what's gonna happen next. You know,
right?
Yeah, Aaron has that. Aaron has that ability to do that. You know, I love all his stuff. I had his stuff not knowing he was in Aaron. You know, it's crazy, right? Paradigm was probably the first comic I had that didn't even know belonged to Aaron until we later on. Like, oh man, I think I have your comic book somewhere, bro. Holy. And Joseph,
like, wait, that's you.
right. So Joseph did a great job on that. I think that looks so killer. You know, he got them perfect. Bella Michaels loved it too, man. She shot it on her Facebook and all her our socials. So yeah, they're great. They're great guys.
I had to go back to that and leave it up because I was like, that's hilarious.
That is awesome, man. That was Joseph. Joseph tells me, he asked me a few months back, he's like, hey man, you think the reporter would want to be in a comic book? I have this idea. And bam, man, it worked out great. I think it worked out great. You know, it's a blessing, you know. Those guys are great. They're so smart and at their field, you know. And sometimes I tell me, man, I'm so sorry, man. I don't get some of the things that they want. It takes me a while to grasp the concept, you know. I'm like, I can create an operational plan to go take care of the biggest cartel guys in the world, but dealing with Kickstarter is like, oh crap, that is so difficult.
Just new. It's new.
Right.
And you know, just like anything, it takes a few under the belt to feel that, you know, okay, now I understand and I get it. Like we could do a whole 2-hour show just about how to run a Kickstarter. You know, it's like the prep, the marketing, the social media, how to plan your page, what kind of rewards to put in, how do you manage your stretch goals, who's doing your fulfillment, what's your budget? Like there's just so many steps. People have no idea all the work that goes into these things.
It's a lot, you know. And when you see these backers, that's the ultimate thank you, you know. You see these backers down there, that at least 115 people, you know, want to see this fruition, and they want to see this come out, you know, come to light. And to get funded so quickly was awesome. The second time, it took like about another half day, but we did it, you know. I was like, wow. It happened like at midnight, you know.
It snuck in there. That's always worse. You're like, you want to see it, and you're like, gosh dang it. Should I stay up 5 more minutes and refresh?
I was asleep. And I got these texts in the middle of the morning. Like, hey man, you already got funded, bro. Hey.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, I missed it. Now I had to be asleep. Jesus Christ. And I'm an early bird, so I wake up to work out every morning. So by 10 o'clock, Papa's out cold.
Yeah.
I'm up at 4 a.m. to hit the gym. But it's a blessing, you know. These guys are great. The fans are great. You know what's the hardest part, Laurie, is at the end also dealing with all the shipping. Holy moly.
Yes.
You know, that was new for me last year. You know, how to get, what do you call those boxes that you put them in? The freaking
Gemini
boxes. Yeah,
Yeah.
those Gemini boxes, you know, those are cool as hell. But wow, I was getting
and that's part of the way you have to plan your merch is,
Right.
can I fit it in a Gemini mailer with the comic? Because
Right.
now where I'm at, when I'm doing like hot sauce and like glass tumblers, that ain't gonna fit in a Gemini mailer.
Wow. So how do you do that?
You just have to get different size boxes that'll fit and make sure everything will go in, and then you pack it accordingly so it doesn't break. I kept a lot of the packaging for the glasses that came. They came in a really nice protective, like a cardboard sleeve, so they don't move. So they're just staying in that. You know what I mean? So I'll just turn around and ship it like that, which would help. But the hot sauce, I actually 3D print a protective sleeve. This is the last time I can afford to do this, though, because like last campaign I did hot sauce, I think there was like 6. This time there was 12.
Wow.
Next campaign, I'm doing a sampler. So I can't 3D print 300 sleeves, guys. It's just not gonna, you know what I mean? So we're gonna have to go into some kind of cardboard box, but I'll make it worth your while. But yeah, so it's like you have to try and protect things and make sure that they can fit into boxes. So
and I always get bags and boards, and there's nothing better than when I get a comic book that I order from somebody and it comes in a bag and a board. I think that's important for the customer, you know. I'll throw in some stickers, I'll throw in some some extra buttons, you know.
Yep.
But you know, every little bit counts, you know.
Absolutely.
I think I'll make the buyer feel, hey man, we got some extra stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Throw in more of the bookmarks and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I usually have extras. So
it's a challenge though, that ordering at the end, man. That ordering when you gotta mail out 150 comic books, you know, that's like wow.
Yeah, just wait. And when you have all 5 done and like people are adding on older issues, and then you're just like, okay, this gets this gets that. Make sure you put all these in the box. Oh, they need a t-shirt, you know.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
It's awesome.
Devil's Air wanted to know if you were thinking about doing a trade paperback for your first arc, and if you would offer international shipping at that point. I don't know about the international shipping, if we can say or not at this point, because it's so early. But are you thinking about doing a collected,
of course, yeah. So I'm a trade guy. I love trades. I think I have a wall, Jesus Christ, full of trades, you know, a shelf. I got but eventually once we're done with 5, I like to put out a trade paperback as soon as I could. I love trades, man. I don't know about you, but I think a trade is everything you need in one shot, you know. With the grace of God, we're gonna do it. We'll do a trade for sure. For sure.
And it's a different market.
Yeah,
like I said, like my trades are in bookstores, but my floppies, they can't go to bookstores. They can go to LCSs.
Aaron just did his Tilt trade paperback, and it went really well, you know. And I supported him right away, you know, because sometimes trades are the way to go. Somebody told me, another creator told me, why don't you just wait to do the trade paperback instead of doing so many floppies? And I'm like, because I love floppies, man. I think we all grew up. Anybody who gets into comic books at one time, that's how you start. You start with a floppy, you know, the first hard copy. So I'm going to go old school. We're going to do 1 through 5, and then put out the trade paperback. That's the plan with the grace of God.
And it's like I have to remind people, like, this all takes money to create this. I don't think I can Kickstarter enough to take 12 issues and put it into a trade. Like, I don't think I can raise that amount all at once, you know? So it's like, we're doing it like this so that you get a piece of the story and then you get the collector item, you know what I mean? Because a lot of the variants are limited run. And then, you know, people can get the trade if they just want to hang out and wait for the trade. There's just a lot of options, but at least people can get the story and be a part of our journey as we create comics until we get to that trade paperback, which is what we just did. So I can't wait to get them. Devil's Ear, if you're still watching, because we're about to wrap up the show, the books are done. I have an ETA of when I'm supposed to get them, which is May 15th. So that's basically a week. So you should be getting yours sooner than that, because they're in the UK and they're shipping the international ones themselves. So you should be getting yours within the week. Okay. And then I get my books and then I have to send it out to all the US people. So you should be getting yours very soon. You'll probably get yours before me, which I'm jealous. So make sure you post pictures because I want to freaking see it. Right?
For sure. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Like if you get your books before I do, you better freaking I'll be upset.
No,
Anyway, that is the show, people. I can't believe, I mean, like 2 hours always just flies by when we have such a good time.
It was awesome.
So, who do you get the mails from? It'll be ASAP Imagination is sending yours. So should be getting it pretty soon. I don't know if they're going to send you a tracking number or not. I can ask, but yeah, so the books are done. Should be getting it shortly. Raphael, tell us where we can find you, your social media, etc., etc. Give us all the deets.
I'm on Facebook under Atreydean Justice. Same thing on TikTok, on Insta, on Twitter, even on YouTube. So everywhere, any social media, just look up Atreydean Justice and you'll find it in there. I Google myself. I'm like, I'm on Google. That's so cool.
I know. I'll have to follow you on TikTok. I collect all my friends there and just.
I love it. That's awesome.
Good times. And I just want to remind people that this is the way to help. So either back the project. You can always just throw $1 in for no reward. If you're not able to financially support, share this project. There's someone in your circle who would love to know that this comic book exists. It's always great when we find people that purchase afterwards, but this is how the comic gets made. It's so important for indie comic creators to get funded on their Kickstarter so that way they can continue to make good content. So thank you again for backing. Thank you for watching the show, and we will catch you all again next week with more indie creators. I'm so excited. Awesome. And just remember, when you're hungry,
chicken nuggets.
That is all I have to say. Be awesome to each other, and kiss your babies. And we will see you all here next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Consequences.
Glamorized and embraced by Hollywood, feared in the underworld, Benjamin Bugsy Siegel was one of the most powerful men in America. He was also one of the most hated. The man who gave birth to Las Vegas was gunned down in the luxurious home of his glamorous lover. Almost 80 years later, his murder remains unsolved. Who killed Bugsy?
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.